afternoon, everybody. I'm Deidre Malone, president of the National Women's Political Caucus, and I am so excited to welcome Tamika Mallory to our candid conversation today.
Thank
Let me
you.
just say, Tamika, I want them to have the real introduction. This is so meaningful to me because I'm not just introducing an author or an activist. I'm welcoming someone that I've known and admired for 15 years. I met Tamika in 2010 through a mutual friend, and I'm going to say her name, Tamika, Norma Lester. She's
That's
like a mother
right.
to me, an auntie to you.
That's it.
And she invited Tamika to one of my fundraisers when I was running for mayor of Shelby County. And I've known her. She's not new to NWPC. She actually was a guest at our 2016 Boston convention where
Sure
she
was.
shared some knowledge. Once Hillary Clinton lost the campaign, it was devastating for us all.
Yeah.
But Tamika, let me just let them know that not only are you a mother, you're a grandmother, you're an award-winning social justice activist and an author, and you made history side by side with your co-chairs when you helped shepherd the largest single-day demonstration in American history in 2017, the Women's March on Washington. So you
Yeah.
have authored one book. This is your
Two.
second one,
This is my
right?
second.
So the
Yes.
first one was State of Emergency, How We Win in This Country We Built. And this latest one is I Live to Tell the Story.
Right.
Tamika, welcome to Candid Conversations.
Hello, hello. My gosh, I'm so excited to be here with my big sis. Deidre,
Yes.
you are such a leader, so powerful, so amazing, so beautiful, always kind. I think that um, your constituents and community truly benefit from your leadership. I've watched you and I know what you're able to do and how passionate you are, but you're also a get things done type of person. And I know that folks who are listening today would say, absolutely, that's Deidre, because that's who you are. And in fact, as you said, Norma Lester does not allow anything other than that in terms of those that she mentors and supports. And so I'm excited to be on Candid Conversations today. I am at a retreat and I'm in the staircase of a major church, which is called the Riverside Church in New York. It is a historic church where many of the pastors who have been at the helm of leadership here have also been seekers of justice, and
Yes.
they have facilitated some of the most important movements and meetings of our time. Dr. King spoke here, and you go on with the name of all the leaders that you can think of who have come through New York. Riverside Church has been the place to come. And so I'm here today for one of the organizations that I'm a part of. They're having a retreat, and I'm in the hallway. I kicked everybody out of the hallway. Told them they can't even use this bathroom because I wanted to be here and have a quiet space to be in conversation with you all. So thank you. And excuse the background.
Oh no, Tamika, and we so appreciate it because I knew that when I asked you to do this, you're very, very busy. So thank you for taking 30 minutes out of your retreat today to be with us to talk about this book. And let me just say
Thank you.
this, I read it in a weekend. I
Wow.
mean, it's really powerful. And so the title, I Live to Tell the Story, is powerful. When you say that out loud now, Tamika, what does it still stir in you?
Yeah, I mean, I'm still living to tell the
Yeah.
story. And I tell you, we're in a time, I think, Deidre, where to live is an honor. It is really, truly a humble experience to be still existing in a world that if they had it their way, we, particularly as Black women, would be extinct. We are number one in every health problem that you can think of. We are number one in terms of disadvantages economically and in our communities, number one in terms of violence against us. I mean, we're dealing as women, as Black women, with so many different issues. And the fact that we continue to thrive and strive and to really be the leaders, if you think about what we mean to this world and to this nation, everybody wants to be us, right? We are the yin to the world's yang. And we really do keep this nation moving forward. And so to be a part of it to me is like, it's a struggle, but it's also a beautiful thing. And with that comes a testimony that all of us have. I don't know a Black woman who does not have a testimony. I don't know a Black person who does not have a testimony. I don't know any person, actually, especially in this time that we're
Right.
living in, that doesn't have a testimony of what they have accomplished and how they've been able to get through just the ups and downs of life. And I'm no different. Oftentimes people think because you're a leader, because you have a profile, because you're well known, that things are perfect or that the resources are always there for everything you want to do, that you don't have days when you're unsure or have issues that you're pretty ashamed to tell, right? Like we all have something, and I don't believe in perfect people because I've never met a person who was living without challenges, without experiences. And so while I always talk about Black women, I'm sorry if there's someone here who does not identify, who is not a Black person, but that's my experience. But nevertheless, I know that the connective tissue between us and all people is that life happens every single day. And there have been some times when I just did not know if I could make it. Not only did I not know, I ended up in such dark places. I know that I'm not supposed to be here based upon the criteria for what happens when you turn down the wrong road, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about some of those things. But nevertheless, I lived, and the things that I've been ashamed to tell, the things that I didn't want people to know about or that I just kind of kept tucked away. I always talk about the shed in the back of the house. I have that shed back there with all that stuff that I threw in there. I locked it up. I haven't been in the shed in years. And this book made me have to open that
Yeah.
stuff up and to bring it to the forefront. And what I realized is that these are not my stories to hold. They're God's stories to be told so that the next person who is experiencing anything similar will be able to say that I can too make it out of this. If she can do it, I can do it. And that's the whole point of why I poured my soul into I Live to Tell the Story.
Tamika, I mean, this book, it's like the honesty is so deep, right? What was the most difficult truth you had to tell yourself as you were writing this book?
Pages one through the end of the book. That was the most difficult. And I
Yeah.
mean that with my entire heart. Now that you've read it, and for anyone else who has read the book, I go places. I could be at the local Popeyes, which I don't eat Popeyes like that anymore, just so y'all know I'm on a health journey. But I could be anywhere. And people who've read the book will come over to me and say, "Oh my Lord, like you either spoke to something that I've been through, or a family member, or a friend," or they'll say, "Wow, you just told us so much that we would not have thought that we would normally hear from someone." And they always say, like, "What was the hardest part?" And I tell people that the entire book was difficult because who wants to share the things that if you don't tell anybody, they don't know. And so you
That's
can
right.
live with the veil of whatever you want folks to see. You can do a social media life in the world that you post your best moments and you show the best of yourself and move on. So who wants to reveal some of those dark issues? No one does. And so that for me has been uh, tough. It was tough from beginning to end because there were moments where um, I was being asked, like I would say to the young lady who was helping me to stay focused and to write, she would say, well, let's talk about your bedroom as a child.
Yeah.
And I would say, yeah, it was pink and, and it was cute and that's it. And she'd be like, sis, that's not going to work. Like,
Yeah.
I need you to go deep. So that now makes me have to go sit back in that bedroom. And sitting in that bedroom, there were a couple of things that came up. But one of them was looking out the back window and seeing the bodies coming out of buildings because folks were ODing on drugs, people were being killed, people were being arrested. And that's something that I witnessed in this cute pink bedroom where my parents inside the apartment were trying to protect me from all the things. But the window in my bedroom faced the real world,
Yeah.
and that was tough to talk about. And now you can go into every chapter and find something, even good things that give me emotion, that get me all excited. And so it was a lot. This book was hard. My first book, Deidre, was different because the first book, while there's some personal anecdotes in the book, the real stories, or the real purpose of that book was to talk about how I feel about America. If you ask me right now to talk about America, baby, I have so much to say. And particularly today,
Day.
after somebody had the nerve on yesterday to disrespect us so bad. And I have
The
so much to
person that
say.
lives in the White
The
House.
person that
Yeah.
lives in the White House, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I have a lot to say. But my second book, the one that you have in your hand, that required of me to speak about myself. And
Yes.
that's
Which is
very, very
difficult.
different. Oh yeah. Oh
It's
yeah.
difficult. I mean, you read the book, and I think what touched me was you come from a family of activists. Your parents were, out there protesting. You came up under
Yep.
Reverend Al,
Yep.
and then you started doing your own thing.
Yep.
And so it's been your life journey to be out front, tell the story, fight for something,
That's right.
someone.
That's right.
That's what you've been doing really all of your life. And
Absolutely.
so, but that comes with a heavy burden too,
Yeah.
Tamika.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
does.
packing all of that stuff in, keeping it in as a part of your journey. Did you feel at any point that you were like facing like an imposter syndrome because you were out front every day doing the fight?
Yeah. I mean, so when here's another part of something that I never really wanted to share, and I'll make it quick, but I didn't, I had a baby when I was 18. So I was pregnant 17. I had a baby at 18 years old. And his father was deceased by the time I was 20. So while some of the young ladies, because I'm like a fan, a big fan of a number of the women that we see and hear from in the media, Angela Rye, Brittany
Yes.
Packnett, Joyanne Reed, and I could go on and on and on with
I'll
all the
see her
women.
in an hour. I'll see
No,
Joey in an
talk and
hour.
please tell Joy I love her
I
as my
will.
sister. I watch these women, Tiffany Cross, and
Yes.
I listen to them speak, and I'm like, wow, how do they know all those words? Like, they put things together so well. You can tell that they are so highly educated, and I admire that because during the time that they were in college and they were, being exposed to all the things that would help them be where they are today. I was a mother. I was a
Yeah.
mother. I was dealing with my son's father's passing. I didn't get to go to a university and not have the load and the responsibility on my back of raising a son, and working. I had a full-time job. I was working and dealing with extreme grief. And so I didn't get the opportunity to have some of those experiences. And therefore, um, of course, I've had imposter syndrome because I've shown up in spaces where, because of my work and the level of success that I have and a passion that people respect, they put me on stages with some of the most eloquent, amazing, well studied people in the dang on world. And I'm sitting there like, shoot, like I got, I read the stuff, I prepared, but I still don't always feel confident that what I am saying out of my mouth is matching the excellence that's on the right and the left. And that has made me decline invitations that were important. It has made me go into spaces and not perform as well as I could because I was worried about trying to be something other than myself. I don't do that anymore. And it took one of my partners at my organization, one of the co-founders, my son Lennon, when I first got him involved in this work, it's been more than 10 years ago, he noticed that about me. And this is a
Mm.
young man who had been in prison for a crime he didn't commit for 7 years. He was an artist who had back in the 90s $1 million record deal, and then fell into this unfortunate situation and went to prison for being unwilling to tell on other people that he
Mm.
knows who were involved in a crime. And when we started working together and he was coming to events, he would say, "What happened? Like, what's wrong with you? Like something like when we're at dinner or in a small meeting, you're amazing, and then you go and then start acting weird on these panels." And I told him the truth that I
Yeah.
didn't feel comfortable. And I remember him saying something to me that sticks with me every single day. He said, "I just want to tell you, as someone who's gone through all the things that I just told you about his life, I don't know what those folks be talking about sometimes. Like the words that they're using, it sounds good, but I have to like Google what does this mean and try to understand." He's like, "When you speak, I get it immediately. Maybe you should try being you
Mm.
and coming from the place where you are because you're making it plain for those of us who need that. Not to
Yeah.
say that we don't need to elevate, learn, and do more, but you're giving us an entry point. And that freed me, Deidre. It freed
Yes.
me. If I needed to hear that so bad so that I could go places in my stomach was not enough. And that's when, even though you still have imposter syndrome, because that's just a real
Oh,
thing,
yeah. It's real.
but it's not crippling as it was in the past in my life.
So, Tamika, in this era of performative activism, how
Mm.
can people tell the difference between optics and real commitment? Because I mean, like you're so authentic. We all know it's real, but some people, it's more optics than anything. How can
Right.
we tell the difference?
I still believe in the model of knocking on the doors. Like I am a leader who leads people to go touch people. So a lot of folks ask me, "Why aren't you on the news all the time?" Or like, like always in front of the camera. I don't like cameras. I really don't like taking pictures and videos. I do it. I'm pretty cute, but that's not my nature. And it's not to say that people who do that are performative, because a person like Joyanne Reed, if we didn't have her in front of a camera every day, Lord only knows, because these folks lie, 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 they lie.
Yeah.
And so you need people whose specialty is articulation, right? And so I'm not suggesting that that's not good. But if you call yourself an organizer, a leader, someone who's in the movement, you have to be able to balance being in front of a camera with standing in front of someone's door and bringing them services and information. Social media has allowed anyone to prop up a phone, prop up a camera, and start talking. And just because
Hmm.
they have the right lingo, maybe they studied the subject, maybe they even have been through some challenges or community organizing, and they truly have the passion. But they can prop up a camera and start talking, and that makes them a leader.
Yeah.
That to me is not leadership. To me, leadership is having people in communities be able to say, I touched the hand. I have received the resource. I've spent time and breathed the same air as someone who I believe in. And, now that I have a more national and international platform, sure, I'm not able to do it everywhere as much as I would like to. I can't take every call and deal with every case, but I still pick and choose places that I want to invest and to be on the ground. And just to give you an example of that, if you think about the work that we did in Kentucky around the murder of Breonna Taylor,
Right.
we almost lost our lives there. We had police following us, intimidating us. We had white supremacists pulling guns on us. But we still every day, because we did rallies at 12 o'clock. We did a march and a little
Uh-huh.
rally every single day, every day. And
And it's in the book.
and it's right every day. We did these rallies and people were upset. They were looking for a place to channel their energy. There were folks who were living in a tent city situation in a park that has now been named in honor of Breonna Taylor. And every day we would meet there, march, and come back and have some type of informal rally. We use those opportunities to go out and march to people's homes. We would knock on doors. And let me just say, at first, we went to Kentucky. Breonna Taylor was the subject of our passion and our fight. We wanted justice for Breonna Taylor. When we got there, what we learned was Breonna Taylor was important to people, very important. We go up to someone and say, well, can you come rally with us 12 o'clock on Tuesday? And they say, yeah, I want to be there. But right now it's COVID. They've closed the grocery store. We don't have food. We don't have water. We don't have resources. And so we had to go back and recalibrate that they were interested in the fight for Breonna Taylor, but they needed someone to help fight for them as well. And
Yeah.
so, therefore, we went out and organized and called everybody we could, and we fed 4,000 families in Kentucky at the same time while we were there to get accountability from police officers and from the system. We knew that it was also important to tie it to the mutual aid concerning the needs of the people. That to me is the difference in how you figure out a leader who
Yeah.
is really serious about the work of the people and those who have just found their way to being a good talking head. And we should put people in the category that they best serve. We should not discount someone just because they are not in walking the streets and organizing, but they should not be called a leader in the movement. They should actually be put in the position they're in and celebrated and supported for the work that they do.
Tamika, I've got two more questions for you because I promised you I was not going to hold you but 30 minutes.
Thank you.
What role must women continue to play, and why is that leadership still so often minimized?
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that this moment, and I've been saying this actually yesterday, I spoke at the memorial service for Claudette Colvin, Miss Claudette
Yes.
Colvin, who sat on the bus before Rosa Parks. And I found out, Deidre, that Rosa Parks' case did not continue, it didn't complete in terms of, of course, she was charged with disobeying the law for sitting on
Right.
the front of the bus, but her case actually ended early or was dismissed. I don't know. Let me not say it was dismissed, but I know it ended early. Claudette Colvin's case actually completed. She went through the entire process, and yet Rosa Parks is the one who received so much more of the
Attention.
attention. And
Yeah.
Claudette Colvin, for what I've been told by family members, that wasn't her thing, right? Again, two different roles,
Yeah.
both extremely important, because we wouldn't be sitting here today if it had not been for two women who did their thing in different ways, and yet we are here where we are. I would tell you that we're in a time where there's no room for silos. There is no room for silos. We cannot afford to be in a space where this group of women is too bougie for that group of women, and this group of women don't like us because wrong this, wrong address, wrong street. I mean, you know all the things. My hair, your dress, how you look. We've got who's getting the resources. Is there's not enough, there's too much. I mean, we have so many things that distract and divide us. We're divided by race. We're divided by just a socioeconomic status. We're
Yes.
divided in so many ways. We can't be. We're not going to win unless we're able to look at one another and say we can't get everybody, but we've got a large enough percentage of people who believe in this struggle, this fight, and this work so much that we are going to stand together and we're going to fight. We're going to fight and we're going to protect one another. And that's what I think women can be doing right now. You got to find your tribe. You got to find your tribe, and then you got to get uncomfortable and go meet 10 other people who you can now bring into the fold, support one another, and then at the same time, go out and do the work together. And we need to be courageous. I do not believe that we will change this nation until a woman is the leader of the nation. I don't believe that. I think that I know for sure that if Kamala Harris was president, and not because let me tell you, I done marched on Kamala Harris. I have had tough conversations with our sister. I have sent out press releases, social media posts when I didn't like things that she was doing or positions that she has taken. And so I am not this is not about being a fangirl. I'm just
Right.
saying the nature of what women can do. I believe that if she was president, and also another person who I'm not always fond of, in Hillary Clinton, that if we had those two women to lead our nation, we would be in a different direction. That's what I believe. I believe that, as Coretta Scott King said, that if we want to change this nation, it's going to be women who are going to have to do it. And so I'm putting my money on all women, that we need to take the brothers have tried, the men have tried, they did the best they could do. They have had it for long enough. We respect them. We need them to be right there next to us, but it's time to shift to what a woman can do to change the face of this nation.
Tamika, you answered my last question. Any final thoughts before we close this out? Because I so appreciate you, my sister. And I'm going to remind people they need to go ahead and get this book.
Please buy the book, support my work. We're also dealing with the starving of resources. You got hundreds of thousands of Black women who don't have jobs, people who have been pushed out of the workforce, people who are having to make decisions to walk away from careers that they have worked in for 20, 30 years and even more, with the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And when Black women are destabilized, it destabilizes all types of industries, because we're the ones that make sure the donations get out there, that the kids programs are funded, that mental health and prevention for so many different things. Like we really lead that work. We are truly the heart of the world. And right now is a difficult time for fundraising. It is a difficult time for sustainability. And so if you are, you have a book in your hand, or excuse me, if you got a phone in your hand, or you can get to a bookstore, please support me, because as you support me, it helps me continue to do the work that I'm doing. I appreciate every single person who sees me, and who is willing to read my story, to know more about me, so that when you hear people say, oh, Tamika Mallory, she's X, Y, and Z, you can say, no, actually, I read it directly from her words. Every single thing in my book is the truth. I promise you that I took the time to write a book, to the point where I drove the entire editing team crazy. But I wanted everything. They had it that my walls were like orange or something. And I was like, it was not orange. They were like, who? No one's going to know. I yes, I know. And one day I was in Atlanta speaking, and a woman came and said, "I remember that straw." She's a friend of mine, but I haven't seen her in years. And she said, "I remember that strawberry toy box in the book in the first chapter." And I said, see,
They remember.
people remember. And so one thing I want you to know is if you support me, know that it is authentic, it's my truth, and I appreciate, again, every single person who sees me enough to support my work. And thank you, Deidre. You are a rock star. I appreciate you also for seeing me enough to make sure that I'm always taken care of and at the forefront of the people's minds in your orbit.
Thank you, Tamika, my sister. Thank you for your honesty, your leadership, and your continued commitment to justice. On behalf of the National Women's Political Caucus, we appreciate you. We see you,
Thank
and we've
you.
got you. We're
Thank
supporting
you.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank
Thank
you.
you for our candid conversation.
Bye.
All right, take
Take care.
care. Bye bye.